And the fight is always against the immediate. How do I make this real? How do I get this like? How do I get the next customer? How do I make it like the immediate is always fighting with the infinite. And we're trying to get them to align to what I do in the immediate has an infinite impact. Like that's the goal. The goal is to get those things in alignment. And again, I want to come back to where now kind of like the method of it, because you just mentioned some of the methods, trying out new ways of slowing down, being intentional about that. I watch so many of your videos. I'm telling you, between your Pomodoro technique, I've probably given you like 10,000 of your hours on YouTube. Because there's also some methods, right? So we do need to get down to the practical, because someone's listening to this maybe is still building their YouTube channel past those first 50 to 100 subscribers. And they're like, okay, that's great that you slow down, but I don't have any subscribers to slow down with.
Hello and welcome to Bootstrap Biz Advice, where I teach service providers how to leverage tech and YouTube to increase traffic to their offers, generate passive income, and partner with brands. If this is your first time here, my name is LaShonda Brown. I am a tech educator, YouTube coach, and speaker based in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Each week, I go live on Mondays at 10 to talk about marketing strategies to help you keep your expenses low and your profit margin high while you DIY. I have a few community announcements, so we'll start with those. The doors will open for my YouTube membership this Wednesday. So if you missed enrollment in January and you're interested in joining a community of 45 service providers who want to use YouTube to increase traffic to their offers, to generate passive income and partner with brands, head over to lashondabrown.com/waitlist to join the waitlist. Now on Saturday, I am offering a free webinar. This is going to help you to hit your first 1K subs on YouTube. So if you're interested in being monetized on YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 10,000 watch hours within the last 12 months to qualify for the YouTube Partner Program. So this workshop will help you to get halfway there. You can go to lashondabrown.com/workshops to sign up for that. And if you're watching this live stream after Saturday, you can still get access to that workshop replay by going to the exact same link. So this is a landing page on my website to keep all of these opportunities organized. So you can go to lashondabrown.com/workshops. And even if this is after Saturday, that link is valid. So I want to make sure that's really clear. Now, the last announcement is I am trying something new. So let me go ahead and quickly pop that up in the top right-hand corner. So I am going to create a worksheet to go along with the content of this conversation. And the main reason why I want to do that is a lot of my members inside of the Bootstrap Creators are podcasters who are leveraging YouTube. So I'm going to kind of do like a live coaching session with Alan. And so if you want access to the pretty version of what I'm currently looking at on my teleprompter, you can go to lashondabrown.com/feblive, or you can scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner. So what that's going to do, I'm going to give you some of that behind the scenes strategy, just so you know why I do what I do. Now that link is a URL redirect that I easily created within Squarespace, and both the link and the QR code are driving traffic to a Jot form page. That landing page is going to capture information about you, your name, your email address. Do you have a podcast? Are you interested in a podcast? So that way I can have a bit more information about the people who are watching my content. There's also a question when you go to that landing page that's going to ask you, are you watching this on LinkedIn or are you watching this on YouTube? Because I want to learn more about, is it helpful to multi-stream on both of those platforms? So if you want access to that information, if you want access to a handout that accompanies this information, you want to scan that QR code or go to that link. So I am going to swap out that QR code because your girl got this here live stream sponsored. And if you know one thing about me, if someone wants to support me and slide some coins my way, I happily receive them. So we are going to hop on over to our fabulous sponsor for today that makes absolutely perfect sense for what we will be talking about. And the name of that brand is Riverside.
This live stream is sponsored by Riverside, your all-in-one online podcast and video studio. As someone deeply immersed in teaching service providers the ropes of leveraging tech, I understand the importance of reliable tools. Whether you're contemplating starting a podcast or diving into video content creation, Riverside stands out as the ultimate online recording and editing studio. From seamless recording to magic clips, Riverside equips you with everything needed for high-quality content. Whether recording directly on the platform or uploading external footage, Riverside offers versatility for any project, spanning podcasts, videos, and vlogs. For any business owner prioritizing efficiency, Riverside's features, including editing out silence and instant transcriptions, will help you to streamline the editing process with ease. To get started, use my code LaShonda for an exclusive 20% off. The link is in the description. Here's to elevating your podcast and video content to new heights.
So thank you so much to Riverside for sponsoring this live stream. And I have my dear friend, Alan, here for this conversation. So Alan, tell people about the podcast that they saw a clip from earlier in the stream.
Well, first of all, Ashonda, it is so amazingly great to be here. It is a pleasure and honor. As you can see from the name, my name is Alan C. Paul, and the podcast that you saw is the God and Gig Show, which is my podcast for creatives, musicians, entrepreneurs, people who want to thrive from every angle as a creator who has a faith-focused background, but also works in the mainstream arts and entertainment space. So that's kind of like where I reside. And so that podcast, LaShonda, was you dispensing all kinds of goodness to us on the why you are able to do what you do, work less, but live more. Like, you blew my mind with that conversation. It's still my top 10 podcast.
That was
episode.
one of my hands down favorite interviews. That's why I'm always like, let me just reshare. It's been a few months. Let me just bring that back to the top.
It lives forever. It will be on the Mount Rushmore of God and Gigs episodes. Trust me.
Oh, thank you so much, friend. Now, I'm curious, what made you start that show to begin with?
Oh gosh, do you want the entire backstory, or do you want just the
Now, look, we got an hour, so don't get crazy now.
I am a podcaster. Never forget, asking a podcaster to tell a
true,
story.
That's true. Well, we definitely want to teach the people. So how about you give me the 5-minute version, and I'm gonna give you the platform.
Okay, 5 minutes. I could do this. All right. Thank you for giving me parameters. So if you want everything about me in like just the last little synopsis, it'd be: I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a creative, I'm forgiven. Husband and father goes with the family part. I've been married for 37. Whoa, I can't get it. 27 years? I can't remember. Anyway, the point is that I started out really just focusing on my family. I'm also a musician, so that's the creative part. And then the forgiven part is that I work in a church and I work around ministry. So to really fast forward all that stuff, started as a musician and as a teacher, but then realized that I didn't want to stay in teaching full time. And then I went into full-time ministry after that, LaShonda. So that was another series of my life where I spent 8 years in ministry. So I had all the things going on, right? The church, all that stuff. And then at one point, God's like, you know what? Won't be funny? Let's tell him to resign and go back into gigs, go back into the the world of music and entertainment and working wedding bands and studio work. So all that to say, I didn't know how to do all that stuff. I had gone into teaching and ministry. I had forgotten how to do gigs. I didn't know how to make a living as a musician.
Okay. So it's all coming together now. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I had to write a book over here, God and Gigs, and then I had to start a podcast to talk to people about how to do what I do, how to survive as a musician and a creative without sacrificing my faith. So 270 episodes later.
270?
72
For
as of
real?
today. Yes, 272 as of today.
Okay. Okay. Now, before, because I didn't even tell you it was going to be like a live coaching session, Alan knows good and well I'm just going to throw him into the water. Like, I'm going to say, all right, swim. So I didn't even debrief him like I would most people because we're just friends like that. So I really want to know, like, truthfully and honestly, right? You have this brand, you're actively managing a brand for your church, a brand for yourself, you're teaching other people. What made you want to be a part of my YouTube membership? I'm very curious, and I hope it's a good answer because I did not
No.
ask ahead of time.
Don't worry, I'll try not to embarrass you.
Oh
I'll do good.
gosh.
I'll do good for my teacher. Now, for real, I want to say very clearly, number one, before I ever wanted your expertise for my personal brand or my personal podcast or my platform, I wanted to know how you do what you do, period, as a person, because you're so impressive, because your ability to just help people and to say, hey, this is going to be $5, $10. That was my first thing. I was like, why is she charging literally just nothing for this amazing information? So your quality of content and then your character drew me. But then I said, my goodness, I'm running now on 3 podcasts. Meanwhile, my YouTube is sitting like collecting dust. And why am I not leveraging the people I know, the relationships I have with people who know what they're talking about and actually use their process? I've done the same thing with my personal trainer, a guy at my church. Why was I ignoring him? Because he goes to my church. Meanwhile, he's got athletes. Like, go to the person that knows the information that's right there next to you. So, LaShonda, you were the person that I said, why am I struggling with YouTube? And literally, the expert on YouTube is right there, willingly giving, basically to me. Again, we're not going to talk about pricing. I know you have another episode on that, but I see your content as so valuable, and it can help me to now take something that I really believe in. And as I said, I run multiple brands, so I'm applying the structures and the strategies you're giving me throughout different disciplines. And to me, that's huge. It's not just, oh, do you get a better podcast? Can you build a bigger audience? It's more like, how can you integrate these things and these tools and these strategies to be a better entrepreneur, creative business person? And so because I saw that in your program, I was like, okay, it makes no sense not to be a member. It was a no-brainer. I don't know if was that a good answer? I hope that was a good answer.
Good answer.
It's like the Price is Right, right? No, was it right? What is it? Oh,
Oh
Family Feud, Family
yes,
Feud. Good
good
answer. Good answer.
answer. Good answer. Oh man. Okay, so here I'm going to give you the honest truth why I asked you that question, because I think, before we hop into, this coaching and strategy and all of that, I think it's really important that people understand the type of experience they're going to get and the rationale from current members why they decided to make that decision. I think a lot of people will put like testimonials on their website, and that's great. But when you can hear a real person saying real words in real time, it's powerful. And so I'm like, look, I got you here. Let me just ask. Because ultimately, I think when I really take a step back and I look at, and actually, you know what? I did put this in here, and this is so special to me. I'm such a little mama bear. So let me share about my people. So I've got, now this is gonna trip you out.
Okay.
Because when I saw it displayed this way, I was like, are you serious? Really? Okay, so you ready for this? After 1 month, this is what my community looks like.
Whoa.
Between star students and bootstrap creators. Now, all of you guys, for now, are in these little silos. I am actively working to build an app for the membership, so you guys will finally be able to talk to each other and collaborate and ask questions. And like, when I tell you, Uscreen is blowing up my inbox, but this app is going to be fire, and you're going to be in some of the photos for it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Look, thanks for bringing up the one thing that makes me the most nervous of any of this.
It's going to be fine. We're going to wear all black. It's going to be bomb. But like, truthfully, like when I created this slide for the workshop with Amber this month, it took my breath away because I'm like, what we're creating is real community and real people striving to work less and live more. And eventually we'll be able to support each other in that and actually talk to each other more so we can start trading tips and doing collab. Like there's so many podcasters in this list. Like I want to see you guys guesting on each other's shows. And there's so many things I want to do. But right now, because I'm doing everything manually, I'm like, girl, 20 hours a week. So I'm doing the best I can. But I want you to see this because I want you to see what you are a part of. And when I tell you, I already have 25 people on the wait list, like it's quite possible that the membership will double in size when the new folks come in. Like it's just going to be crazy. And so what I'm saying is a simple way, like if I said nothing else on this live stream, a simple way that you can grow your podcast is to be a part of a vibrant community. There is no value that I can't quantify it, but like when you're in it, you know it. When you are in a vibrant community, leveraging those relationships is unmatched. Like when I tell you, I asked Sean, I won't say the company name, but I literally sent a single email to Sean. I said, Sean, do you know anyone at blank? He said, why, yes, I do. I have a friend who used to work there. Let me connect you. Fast forward 1 week, they're a sponsor of Bootstrap Biz Advice. So when I tell you I have a channel with 28,000 people now, but it does not adequately communicate what's really happening behind the scenes. Stuff like this shows you what's happening. All of these brands have power. And when you guys get to start talking with each other, it's going to be ridiculous. So I'm telling you now, before we hop into, this one-on-one strategy session, basically with Alan to talk about how we can take his podcast and take it to the next level, I want you to understand I have 2 ways for you to be a part of my membership community, and it's very strategic. Star Students is simply a subscription to my monthly workshops. And with these monthly workshops, I bring in subject matter experts. And when I tell you, Amber's workshop this month, literally jaws were dropping because the amount of time she's going to save people is ridiculous. So you pay the $10 and every month you get access to those workshops. And then you also get all the replays from my previous workshops, which I started doing in May of last year. Immediately you get access to that on Buy Me a Coffee. The YouTube membership is $50 a month and you get all of that stuff included and you get access to the app that we're building. So like, when that's ready, it's going to be insane. But I just want you to understand that this is part of how I'm able to just pour lavishly on people on these live streams because I have systems behind the scenes taking care of my bills. I'm not even pressed. So now that y'all know how I do what I do, I'm about to give Alan a live coaching session here. And just so y'all know, these sessions be costing $500 an hour. So y'all getting to be a what do you call it? A fly on the wall. And I'm about to fix what's happening with God and gigs. So that's just how I think. I'm a real life case study, and we're gonna get under the hood. Okay. So Alan, you ready for this?
Not anymore.
And here, if you have tips too, you can share them along the way. But I just felt like this would be a fun, engaging way to talk about this. Okay. So again, the goal is to not make any of you feel less than. I want to equip you to make more money. If you are watching this live, drop your questions in the comments. Now is the time. I'm not lying to you. My sessions are $500 an hour. So ask me now, because when this stream ends, I'm gone. Like, trust and believe. I'm going to Mardell. I'm going to TJ Maxx. I'm going to be gone. So now is the time to ask. Okay. If the spirit leads, start clacking. All right. So let's start here. The biggest mistake that podcasters make when they create their podcast, and I'm talking day one, I have created a term and I'm calling it the vacuum effect. They don't integrate the podcast into their overall strategy. And so they create their podcast in a vacuum. So before you start recording your first episode, I want you to ask yourself these questions. So if you are watching this live, you can write these questions down. You can also scan that QR code and I will send out the pretty version of this. I'm looking at a Google Doc right now, but you can get this handout to walk alongside on your own. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and leave this up so that we can keep Riverside's logo up. That's good. All right, so we're going to do it this way. All right, so I'm going to ask you these questions, Alan. All right. So these are the questions I want you to ask. So you didn't already done 200 plus episodes, but it's important to remind yourself of the mission. Okay, so here's the first question. Who is your target audience of your business, and does it match your podcast audience?
All right. So
let's start there. Who is the target audience for your business?
So my target audience right away are Christian or faith focused. In other words, people who have a faith background, entrepreneurs and creatives. They usually are working either part-time or full-time in some type of capacity. They probably have a music or music kind of background. They usually have a church or some type of ministry background. Okay, now here's the key. The key is they are struggling to figure out how to manage making a living and feeling like all the pieces fit. So my audience and my people, my business is about providing tools and services and products and a community that makes them now able to figure that part out. Like, can they actually say, I can live this life, I can be a creative, I can be a musician, I can be an artist, and still feel like whenever I show up at church, number one, I'm fulfilled, I'm not going crazy or overwhelmed. And then the last part, of course, is make that financially viable. So, that's the product. Now, does the podcast audience match that? Ouch.
Well, let me preface this by saying this. If it doesn't match the target audience of your business, you're making your life more difficult than it needs to be. When I do these community live streams, the people I'm talking to on these live streams are potential customers for me, whether it's my $10 workshop, my $50 membership, or my $500 coaching sessions. So the hours I'm spending preparing that content is actually leading to some type of financial benefit, whether it's free, they're coming in my email list, low cost, they're a $10 a month member, they're Star Student, or mid-tier, they're a member of the YouTube membership, or high tier, they're paying me for a $500 coaching session so they can talk to me one-on-one. Free, low, mid, high.
Yeah.
Everything that I do on Bootstrap Biz Advice is addressing one of those four areas so that every time I show up, even if someone is just hitting play and not skipping the ads, don't skip my ads, I'm making money. Okay. And I want you to think of it in that way, because here's my thing. I have a friend who has a podcast that has nothing to do with her business. She wanted a creative outlet. She's like, girl, I work so much. I just want to have a fun podcast. This isn't about money. This is about fun. Now, me personally, I do other things for fun. I just joined Lynchburg Pops so I could sing. I rejoined Rotary so I could do community service because that's fun to me. I go see shows. I babysit my friends' kids. Like, for me, fun is getting away from the internet because I spend my day looking at a screen. So it's not fun for me to do a podcast. Right. In terms of like what I would do for a hobby, but for her, it made sense. So even if your podcast audience doesn't match the target audience of your business, it's just essential that you are clear about the mission, that this is just a hobby. So I'm going to make this as simple as possible because this isn't about the money. But if it's about the money, then we need to optimize it for the money and take the feelings out of it. Does that make sense?
It makes a perfect sense. And it goes right back to something you said in that episode 206, by the way, if you want to find that out, godandgeeks.com/206. That episode where you said that point, which blew my mind. which was my passion does not have to equal what I do for a living.
Right.
As creatives, I've been taught forever, find something you love that you would do for free and
And
then
do that.
do that.
Nope.
Meanwhile, yeah.
Find
So
something that helps you to get paid the most for the least amount of effort. That's a blessed business.
yes, yes.
Like,
A person that I'm about to
uh,
interview, actually, another tool, Capshow, her byline is "Stay intelligently lazy."
that's good.
Yeah.
And
So I'm
here's the thing. I mean, it's a beautiful thing if your passion is what your profession is. But the problem is when you start monetizing your passion and you start hating your job, now you've lost both, right? You've
yeah,
lost your
yeah,
passion and your money's funny. So I like to disconnect the two personally, but everybody can do what works for them. But ultimately, if you looked at God and Gigs and said, okay, I can play the piano for fun. I love that. This show is a funnel. This show is top of funnel for my business. I'm pouring my heart into this show so that I can generate leads for my free offer, my low offer, my mid-tier offer, and my high-tier offer. And that's its place. So I need to make sure that the target audience of this podcast matches my business so I can spend less time marketing my business and more time doing the business. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
It makes perfect sense. Exactly
So
what I needed to hear.
that's going to go, we're going to talk about guesting later in this conversation, but like that's how we got to reframe it. So what if that's the case, if God and Gigs is a show that helps you to have meaningful conversations with your target audience for your business, your ideal customer,
Yeah.
what would you be talking about if that was the case, right? So the second thing I want you to ask yourself is what would I be talking about on the podcast, right? So if you're thinking, okay, what would I talk about? I would talk about essentially my offers, but backwards. Your offers are solutions to their problems. So you have to talk about their problems. So you, as a call to action, can say, now that I've shown you I understand your problem, go buy the solution, right? So if the problem is how do you manage your time as a part-time musician and a full-time whatever. If
Hmm.
you have a product that addresses that problem, you could do a podcast episode. It could be a solo episode, right? Because this is about business. So you want to pump out more content, you know, you don't want to be reliant on just guests. You
Right.
can pump
Yeah.
out a solo episode talking about the pain point. And then as a CTA, you can refer them to either a free resource or a paid digital product that you have that addresses their pain point. Okay. That's the stuff you talk about. So the guesting is the fun part. The guesting is like, oh, I'm not worried about making money off of guests because they're not talking about what my target market cares about. These are just fun conversations I want to have because it's about
Okay.
business. So then the guesting becomes your hobby and your fun and your way to connect and introduce your audience to new people. But those solo episodes are for selling. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I gotta tell you, like right now, you're helping me so much because literally, you're walking down the street of what I just shared. The last
Mm,
4 or 5 episodes I've done have been solo episodes. They have
okay.
been tip episodes that simply I repurposed some tips that I sold as a package as how to level up in 2024, right? So I got guests, like you just said, some of my what I
Hmm.
call you're one of my established creative experts, ECEs, in God and Gigs. So I here's and what you helped me with, what I totally missed was which specific pain point each guest and expert addressed, and
Right.
then pointed them to a specific tool
Amy
or thing.
Porterfield
I
is the queen
totally
of
missed
this.
that.
Amy Porterfield is the queen. With her podcast, every episode, she's leading traffic to go to amyporterfield.com/episode whatever.
Right. There's a PDF
Now,
for
I'm not
everything.
saying she has a custom freebie for every episode, but every podcast episode has a point.
Yes.
Does that make like so she's like thinking in her head, it's like, okay, I have 4 freebies. I have 3 programs. I mean, I don't know her like, makeup, but like
The
she's
structure,
taking her offers and she's curating content based on the offers she wants to drive traffic to.
100%.
She's starting with the offer and then making the content, and not making the content and then just trying to give people a CTA at the end. Like, oh, by the way, sign up for my newsletter. Like, it needs to be relevant, right?
Yes.
Because like, even in this case, like for what I'm doing on this live stream, I said, okay, if you want the pretty version of what I'm actually looking at on my teleprompter, go to lashondabrown.com/feblive. Okay. So that is a call to action that is specific to this content. If you want this information in a concise format, all you need to do is go to this. I even explained to them what they're going to see when they get there. That's the kind of stuff that podcasters should be saying within the first 5 minutes of their episode, and again at the end. Before you get into the meat of it, like, the point of this content is, I want you to sign up for this resource. It's free, but I want you to take action. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And yeah, like I said, that it's preaching to myself what I tell everybody else, which is, just because you're creative, kind of like what you said about the passion point, like there has to be something that this is about. There has to be something
Right.
that your brand is about. Why is your song perfect for that particular person, right? And so you're actually leading them toward that. Hey, this solves this problem, even in an emotional connection. So in the business side, it makes perfect sense. And I think what happens to me and a lot of other content creators that, like, get into the hamster wheel, and it's like, I gotta turn it out. Look, this is transparent. This is confessional. Y'all call it what you want to call it. Okay. Lashonda's my priest right now. I'm trying to make my way back. Okay, to the temple.
How about therapist? I ain't your priest. I'm your therapist.
All right, therapist. All right, that's right. Don't do. Let's keep it. But still, like, it's the same concept. The fact that
Right.
I was just up trying to finish something, and my only goal was not to get a lead. I'm being honest with you. My goal was not to get a lead. My goal was to finish an episode. And your brain switches to why I'm doing it to what I have to do. And my brain goes right to, I've got 3 other podcast episodes. I just finished, we're ingraining another podcast into our churches. So now we're going to be running 2, a daily and a weekly. So my brain is like, more stuff. Not
Right.
what will this stuff accomplish?
Well, and that's
Even
the goal
though
of
I
any
know that's
content.
true.
All content, everything you create, whether it's a Facebook post, an Instagram reel, a TikTok, a YouTube video, all of it is what do you want people to do after they watch it?
Right.
What do you want your audience? You have a captive audience. What do you want them to do after they watch that? And just reviewing your podcast or sharing it with a friend isn't sufficient, because they're going to do that anyway if it's good. You don't have to tell me if the podcast episode is good to share it, because if it's good, I'm going to share it with my mama. I'm going to hit the share button and go, Mama, you need to listen to this. Or I'm going to go, oh my gosh, let me support them. Let me go review this podcast. That's a given. Just like on YouTube, people will subscribe for more content if the content you gave them was good. So get those little sorry CTAs out the window and think about, what do you own? You don't own the podcast platforms. You own your lists, your offers, your website. That's what you want people to do. Bare minimum, you want them to get on your email list, because the power of selling online is still in the list. I may have 28,000 on YouTube, but the 3,000 on my email list are how I make money. I can see a direct correlation between, I sent an email, they went and did this. I can see the clicks. I can see the traffic. I can see they opened up this email, they signed up for my membership. They opened up this email, they bought a workshop ticket. The money is in your email list. So bare minimum, and I'm skipping ahead, but bare minimum, have a signature freebie for your podcast or a vault of resources. When I started on Bootstrap Biz Advice, I knew I need to grow a list. I had no plan. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have a password protected page on my website. I'm going to throw up all these random freebies I've made, and people can sign up for the password. I kid you not. It was that simple. It was a password protected page. If you want the password, I called it the VIP vaults.
I remember this.
You remember
Yes, I've been rocking with you, sis. Come on now.
I'm telling you, that VIP vault generated 2,000 plus emails. All it was a password protected page on my website with a bunch of random crap thrown up there because I was like, well, inevitably, one of these will be useful. Okay. So if you can't even narrow it down, create a resource library or a vault or something and simply tell people if you want access to my templates, to my checklist, to my whatever, things that are going to save them time, save them money, or make them money, drive your traffic there, right? In your case, Alan, you address so many things with your brand. A resource library makes so much sense. And I'm sure you already have this content, whether you display it in your membership, the God Engaged 360 thing, whether it's a slide deck from a talk you've done, like consolidate all your free resources and just put it on a page and slap a password on it and say, hey, if you want access to my, faith-filled resource library, just go to godandgigs.com/library to sign up for the password. And I'll send you the password, right? Even if it's automated, sign up and I will send you the password. That already starts building the connection. Even if you're leveraging technology, people love the idea that you are helping them to address their problems. That type of verbiage versus download my free, no. Sign up with your name and email, and I will send you this resource. That's so powerful. Okay. So that's how I want you to start thinking. So I already know for a fact because I know you have so many resources. Consolidate those in every single podcast episode within the first 5 minutes. You need to say, I'm going to deliver value on this podcast, but I want to stay connected. Make sure you sign up for my free resource library. Head to this landing page and I'll send you the password. Done. You can do that from stage. You can do that when you guest on other people's podcasts. Like that just simple. We got to simplify the process. Kanye just sold $19 million worth of crap saying, go to Yeezy.com. I got some shoes. That was his Super Bowl ad. We watched this happen. And as a marketer, I step back and I'm like, you're right. Kanye's not, now he's crazy. We all know he's crazy, but he's not stupid. There's a difference.
Yes.
And that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Now I'm going to show you something else because part of how you grow your podcast is by guesting on other podcasts, right?
Right.
And so one thing that I know you guys are messing up, like seriously, podcast hosts need to be guests.
100%.
So just putting that out there. But let me tell you this, if you're going to guest, you have to be organized. Okay. This is a page on LaShondaBrown.com. It's got my speaking materials. Primarily, I use this for podcasts because they ask me the same freaking questions every time. What do I have here? I'm looking forward to collaborating with you. Here's my bio. Here are my social links. Here are images of me. I've got a variety. So I've got horizontal and vertical. So you can choose from there. And here I have the freebies I want you calling attention to. It's linked. It has graphics. Everything is in one place. Now, if I really wanted to go to the next level, I would put topics that I would like to talk about. But frankly, I prefer for hosts to be more creative. So every interview, I'm not being asked the same questions. So I used to put topics and I'm like, nope, y'all get creative, because if it's not creative enough, people are going to be like, oh, I've already heard LaShonda say this. So they don't listen to the episode and it doesn't help you. But this saves a ton of time. Another way you can save time for your podcast is you can start leveraging forms. Okay. So this is the jot form that I use when I bring people on my channel to go live on YouTube. Since I already had your information, I didn't make you fill this out, but I want you to look at this: name, email, phone number, in case something janky happens and I need to text you or call you. Instagram handle. Have you connected with me on LinkedIn? Send me your headshot. What's a good title for your episode? What would you like to cover? What's the name of your business? What's your bio? What would you like for me to promote on your live? What is your call to action? And do you have an affiliate program so that I can make some passive income helping you promote your stuff? Okay. So this is what I mean by leveraging technology. Okay. There are so many things in the podcast world that y'all are doing manually. All right. This is why I pursued a sponsorship with Riverside, because they have so many freaking tools that are going to help you to stop doing stuff manually. Every second you spend doing something that an AI tool can do better or faster, you are taking time away from growing your business or simply relaxing. Okay. So tools like Jotform will help you collect that information, put it all in one form. So you're not chasing people down for their headshot or, oh, what's your Instagram handle? Or let me connect with you on LinkedIn. One form is all you need. I did a video about this too. So I'll link to that. Actually, you can go to my YouTube channel and look for it. It's plain sight. You can go check it out. And I put all the different form fields on that form because I'm starting to create YouTube content for my membership. Y'all keep doing stuff that I'm like, let me make a video. I done seen 5 of y'all doing this. I'm gonna make a video, put it out there for the public, and then send y'all the link. Okay. That is how Bootstrap Biz Advice got started, was a resource to my marketing company clients. So we're just doing the same thing again, but it's all related to YouTube. Okay. So going back to the questions, who is the target audience of your business doesn't match your podcast, right? What you going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about things that are relevant to your offers, or at least to your signature freebie, your free resources. When do you plan on posting? That's essential. When? You have to be consistent. You have to do it. You have to do it. And the reason why is people want to treat your content like they do their favorite TV show. They know that, back in the day, you had the little Shonda Rhimes day where you had your How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal and I think Grey's Anatomy. You knew, I think it was Thursdays, you knew I'm going to sit down and for 3 hours, I'm going to give Shonda Rhimes my life because she's going to entertain me. People need to know when to come back. Because if you aren't consistent with your posting schedule, you're making your life harder for people to find your content, because they're going to come to watch your content and it's not going to be any new content. They're going to be like, oh, well, maybe they stopped. Oh, well, maybe they're sick. People know I'm here Mondays at 10. Mondays at 10, I'm going to be here. And if I'm not going to be here, then, I'll let people know. But like Mondays at 10, like clockwork, I'm coming. My live audiences are growing and growing and growing because they know Mondays at 10, LaShonda will be there. That has eliminated so much time from me having to communicate when I'll be online, right? So if you can't be consistent, what you got to do is batch your content and then just schedule it to drip out, right? Because otherwise you're just creating more marketing work for yourself to communicate when you're not going to be there and when you are going to be there.
100%.
That makes sense?
This is all amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna see. I'm trying to, as always, just like drinking from a fire hose. But here's the part that I'll give you a couple of things that have worked, and then give you the amen on everything that I need to do. A couple of tools that do exactly what you just said. One is Podpage. I switched from WordPress. I was building, Shana, you talk about doing all the things. I was building my own website. I built godandgigs.com on WordPress myself, taught myself how to figure all that stuff out. But WordPress is not a podcast page, right? So I had to get all these plugins. Switched it to podpage.com. Y'all check out podpage.com if you're a podcaster. The form you're just talking about, I'm about to send you a form to help you fill out your own guest profile where you can update it so that now when people go to that website, they'll see your updated links, your updated affiliate, your updated everything, so that anytime you have new stuff, now that guest release form, guest profile form is now automated. So they don't only go to they sign up to be a guest on the God and Gig show, and then it sends them a direct link to the Calendly, so that after they send the guest release and give all my information. So that's where I improved. Okay, so I knew that I had to fix that.
I love that for you. I really do. I really do.
So that part. Now the part that I'm not doing well is what you said about the consistent, which is the YouTube issue. And again, this morning I'm being my therapist. Lord is my mercy.
Tell the truth. Don't lie.
I can do. I could get the audio done. I saw a question later. I'm sure you're going to do Q&A. Just getting on some type of schedule with the YouTube, and we talked about this, how I have to restart my creative checkup episodes, my live streams on Fridays. That was my day on Fridays. Back during the pandemic, it was easy. Now it's not, right?
Yeah.
So that consistency in terms of the video content has been my bugaboo. Like, it's been like, where does this fit? And so I'm 100% agreeing with you, and I'm also agreeing that that's one of the things that we already talked about in Bootstrap, right? I need your assistance and you're kicking the pants to make
So you know
sure
what
that
it is,
happens,
though?
because I know how valuable that is in podcasting. I haven't missed an episode in 3 years, right?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm about to blow your mind. You ready for this?
I'm listening. I'm ready.
So 2 things. Number
Right.
1, consistency is not show up every week. Consistency is show up the same way when you show up.
Got it.
So let's start there.
Got it.
So that's first thing. Second thing is, you posting on YouTube doesn't have to be on the same schedule as the audio you post
Right.
for the podcast.
Right. And that's the part
Because
that I know, but I haven't
because
figured out.
because the clips that I shared on Instagram and at the beginning of this episode were a year old. Still good.
Yeah.
Still good.
Everything is new to somebody.
Podcasters act like their podcasts expire 24 hours after they post it.
No, again, I know this. I'm sorry. I know this is true. Again, like, I'm the king of repurpose. I have a tool that repurposes automatically with my social. So I know that evergreen content is evergreen. And again, it's just weird. I don't know what about the YouTube universe. It just like blows all of my
Y'all be
common
making it
knowledge
too
out.
complicated. I'm telling you that here's what I want you to think about.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the solution. All right, here we go. I'm thinking on the spot. Maybe to help yourself get over the hump that the video has to be posted at the same time as the audio, knowing good and well the reason why you did the audio is because the audio is easier,
Yes.
right? What if, riddle me this, what if the YouTube video has a completely separate intro than what you put on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, what have you, that says, recently on the God and Gig show, we talked about da 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 da. Now I want to give you an opportunity to see it face to face. Not only will you hear the episode that is, not only will you hear the episode that you can listen to on Spotify, but we've included exclusive content that didn't make it on the podcast to help you get to know us better. Without further ado, let's hop in. So what you put on YouTube is not an identical match to what people listen to, because then you can get the same person who listened to it on Spotify circle back and say, oh yeah, that was a really good interview. I wonder what else they talked about. I wonder, oh man, they did like a live coaching session, or they, did it live. So there's like a Q&A or something.
Right.
Although YouTube will help you to draw traffic to your podcast, if it's not an identical piece of content, you can get the same person to consume it again.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, it makes
And
perfect sense.
so-
And I've tried to do it, but I haven't figured out like what that means. But you're exactly right. Like the purpose is not have 3. And this is a big argument in the podcast. I'm going to go quick nerd. All right.
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to give you the floor. Go ahead.
There's a big argument right now in podcasting because YouTube has moved into this whole, well, we're going to, again, don't want to nerd you guys out, but RSS feeds and is a YouTube video a podcast? That's the number one thing that we're all like going crazy about in the podcasting world. I'm talking to developers and all kinds of people all the time about this big issue about what YouTube is doing. What you just said is really the answer. It's not about what the medium is or whether it's identical content. Is it serving the purpose that it needs to serve on the platform that it's on? So for me, what you just said is perfect because yes, like I want the audio experience to be the audio experience, but what the video experience is, I want to be what serves my YouTube community and the people that are looking in a different way. And like you said, it could be two different types of things. And it
And
doesn't
the other
necessarily have to
thing you
be
could do,
extra
I just
content.
had this thought, so I got to blurt it out before I
Yeah,
forget
let's
it.
do it. Let's go. We're flowing.
What you could also do is not upload the full episode to YouTube and upload the clips to YouTube as separate videos.
As God is
Because
my witness,
Mr. Joe Rogan been doing that since forever.
my
So the
number one episode
highlights.
is
So
that.
think of
Yeah.
YouTube as the highlight reel, right? So do it the other way. YouTube is the highlight reel, and you drive traffic from YouTube to your podcast for them to listen to the full episode. Because you can do SEO on the YouTube video, you can't do SEO on the podcast audio, right? So you can say, hey, to listen to the full episode, if you enjoyed this, you're really going to love the full episode. Head over to your favorite podcast listening tool and check out the full episode. That's another approach. I like that. I like that because then, just like what I did with my interview with you, Brianna pulled out maybe 10 powerful sound bites. Those would be phenomenal as different little, YouTube clips. Some of them were too long to be a piece of marketing material. So if it's over 60 seconds, then okay, maybe that's not a short, maybe that's not a reel, maybe that's not an Instagram story, maybe that is a video in and of itself. And maybe the YouTube channel is simply clips. So you're not having to edit a full episode and put that makes so much more sense. So you're not editing the whole episode. You are taking out the highlights and you're providing a different experience. If you're like, what are the 3 best moments in this episode? And each one of these clips are going to drive traffic to that specific podcast episode and the description box. Now you've got 3 pieces of evergreen YouTube content drawing traffic to your full episode on your, y'all, that's like the price of admission. Let me put my link back up here because my, she's on fire. So here's the deal, y'all. Y'all better join this wait list. I'm telling you right now, because more than likely at the rate this membership is growing, I may have to raise the price on y'all. I don't want to do it, but I may have to. So if y'all want to get in on this type of strategy, on this type of practical application, get on the list. As Tabitha Brown would say, come on in the room. Like, don't be sitting out on the sidelines and letting life pass you by. This is practical stuff. I want real life scenarios, real life problems that we can fix together. That is what gets me fired up. If you can't tell, I'm actually into this. I really enjoy this. I like messing with other people's businesses so I don't have to start new ones. My business is fine. I'm good, but I love strategy. So this is great. I love it. So hop on the wait list. Okay. And that's another thing. You see how quickly I was like, hold on, captive audience. Here's my CTA. Remind them, what do I want you to do? I love that you're enjoying this conversation. But if y'all don't go to my platforms after this, it was a waste of my time. Actually, it wasn't because I got it sponsored. So let's take a side ride. Oh, detour. We got to go there. People, sponsorships add validity to your podcast. Even if you're trading sponsorships with your friends and your friends' content is sponsoring your podcast, get freaking sponsors. Sponsors beget more sponsors. That's how it works. Businesses that are winning keep winning. Businesses that are struggling continue struggling. People buy from businesses that are going somewhere. Even if you're leveraging relationships, that's part of why I have to build this app so that y'all can start trading. You can start trading newsletters. You can start trading sponsorships. All of you have insane businesses that have the same audience. If the target audience matches, do a trade. Do a barter, like get creative, like stop acting like if I don't have XYZ listenership, I can't get a sponsor. Yes, you can. Even your own content, God and Gig 360 could be sponsoring God and Gig. You know what I'm saying? Promote your own brands, your sub brands as a sponsor. So you have got to think about getting your content sponsored so that when you show up to create, you're getting paid. Regardless of what happened here, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid from YouTube AdSense. I'm getting paid from Riverside. I'm getting paid from people who go to my email list. I'm getting paid for people who sign up for my Star Student. I'm getting paid for people who sign up for my YouTube membership. I'm getting paid from people who simply want more one-on-one time with me because they realize, oh my gosh, she brings something new to the table. By structuring this live stream in this way, I'm showing people what it's like to work with me when I'm already getting paid. That's empowering. What does that look like? If every time you show up, you already know I'm getting paid. That's why YouTube. I don't care if you're on Spotify. I don't care if you're on Apple Podcasts. If you have a monetized YouTube account, every time you post, even if it's $1, you're getting paid. And that changes the way you show up because you know it's not a waste of your time. You know it's not a waste. So that is why I'm doing this workshop on Saturday, because I want you guys to understand, if I can get you to 1K subscribers the right way, those people will watch your content. So your watch hours will increase and eventually you will qualify for the YouTube Partner Program. So when you post your podcast, whether you are posting a clip or the full episode, you're getting paid from Google to run ads in your stuff. And podcasts are brilliant because they're so freaking long. They're so long. You can drop multiple ads up in there. Like, I'm telling you, I don't understand why podcasters aren't rich. Joe Rogan is, but most of y'all are not, because you're not leveraging these tools properly. Okay. So I already know. Alan, do you have somewhere to be? Because I feel like the people are going to have questions.
No,
I usually
I
don't
you
go
have
over an hour, but I
look,
think they're going to have
if you're
questions.
willing, if you're willing to give more than you've given already, which is absolute like gold mine diamonds on the soles of her shoes, like I'm here
Whenever
for
I
it.
need to pick me up, just talk to Alan. Well, how about this? Let's put up some parameters so we don't get crazy. Folks on LinkedIn, folks on YouTube, if you're watching live, don't spam the comments. Use the comments, ask your questions. I'm going to set a timer for myself. I'm going to give us 10 minutes. And seriously, if you want the experience of being coached by me about how to leverage tech and YouTube to grow your brand, the way that you work with me in an accessible way is to get into the membership. I don't have a lot of time. My primary customer is the tech companies like Riverside. However, I love helping brands like Alan. So I said, okay, well, how can I make that work? Having a membership is how I make it work. So that is the way you access me. Unless you want to pay me $500 an hour, this is how you get me for $50 a month. I'm just keeping it real. And if you don't have $50 a month, I'll take 10 a month for my Star Student. But beyond that, baby, just watch YouTube, because I can't go no lower than 10. That's my floor. Okay. I can't do no more than that. So I'm gonna hop on over to the comments. I truly want you to ask me real questions. And the reason why is because I can follow this up with long form YouTube content. I know if you have this problem, a bunch of people have this problem, and that content will perform well. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up to make sure I didn't miss any questions from the beginning. Let's see here. Sheila said, this is amazing. I'd love to be a part of this. Girl, come on in the room. Come on in the room.
I was just on Sheila's podcast a little about what I think was the last episode.
I love that. Okay, here's a good question. How do we build YouTube and our podcast simultaneously? I've done mostly audio only and have just recently began to add the video portion. I want to blend the two and I'm not sure how to. Fantastic question. Okay, so I'm gonna be completely real with you. They have that saying, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The best strategy is the one you actually do. So keep it simple, right? So here's my preference. My preference is always to record things live, because part of the reason why you guys are not as charismatic on your podcast is because you're just talking to yourself. Solo episodes typically are like a drain. And that's why all of you think, oh, I need a guest, because you don't want to talk to yourself. But if you go live, you're not talking to yourself. Just like I popped up her question, you can get questions in the comments, or you'll simply see people are watching on the view count, and that will help change the way you present yourself. So the keep it simple, stupid is go live and use the audio from the live on the podcast. So it's like, okay, you don't even need to edit the video. You went live. Once you end that broadcast, it's a video. Then just take the audio and clean it up. That's what I would do. Keep it simple. You can ramp that ish up as much as you want, but to get started, just go live. And here's the thing. If you're nervous about being live, you could go live to an unlisted video on YouTube. And so if you bomb it, don't make it public. But if it's good, make it public. There you go. All right. So yes, Amy Porterfield was the person I was referring to. Amy Porterfield is brilliant. I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm teaching in her membership. I'm not going to tell you when, but it's going to happen because I got a contract. So, won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
So y'all
Y'all
will see it when it's happening.
That's
so
awesome.
Just know. Yes. Okay. We love to see it. All right. Let's see. Love this idea. So good. I have the alarm on my phone set for LaShawn. Yes. Okay, Paula, case in point. Paula knows gems will be dropped at 10. Okay, she's not even in Eastern time. She set it for her own time so she can show up. Paula's incredible. She is going live on YouTube. She's putting herself out there, and I love watching her content. So y'all set an alarm. Unless something's going on, I'm going to be here Monday at 10, because when I do that, it takes the pressure off from me having to post a pre-recorded video during the week. I know I'm keeping my page active, and I'm also engaging in my community. So I shifted my focus to the live streams are community streams. This is how I get to engage with my community, ask questions. They can ask me questions. I can ask them questions, do announcements, deliver some value, and it keeps the light on my YouTube channel. So if I get busy, I at least have the live stream. So that's the strategy behind that. Okay. I interview guests frequently, but I want to add in my question. How long after interviewing should I get out the podcast? So we kind of talked about that. It doesn't have to be simultaneous. In fact, if you push out the YouTube video after the audio, you can use the YouTube content to remind people that the audio is there to listen to. Now, from your perspective, Alan, I know you batch your content. You don't just like record and post. So what would you say, like, how much time do you let go by after you interview somebody before it gets published? Like, completely keep it real.
No, I mean, this is a perfect question right now because this is exactly where I'm at. Because of the backlog, I have not posted a lot of my most recent podcast that I posted from the interview. I'd say the interview was done back in December.
Okay.
The audio posted in January, and I think it took me another 2 weeks to get the video out. It doesn't. The thing that I think we're all hitting on is that number one, everything's new to somebody. So nobody's tracking me like that. Where it's like, oh my gosh, like today's episode, the audio dropped. I didn't do the video out. So it actually does benefit me to keep it separate so that there's less like, oh, you have to watch everything right now. They're not. And that gives me more content throughout the week where I can say podcast comes out on Monday, maybe Thursday, the video comes out. It gives me more time to edit. It gives me more time to talk about it, to build that marketing engagement, to get my marketing stuff together if I'm behind, like right now. So just to answer the question, I think it's more about the content calendar, about maybe there's something like LaShonda, you said your episode is 2 years old, but it was relevant right now. So I think it's more important to ask, when will that content be relevant? And I have an audio calendar and I have a video calendar, and they're not, like you said, they're not the same. They're not organized right now. They're all over the place. But I do have a plan to where the audio and the video will not follow the exact same schedule. And that's okay, because now I know that, hey, I've got this promotion coming up. I want this video to drop. And I don't think people are going to be like, oh my gosh, but that audio came out. Here's the big thing. Audio and video are not the same audience. That I've learned. I have two different audiences, both in my other podcast from my church. There's some people that are YouTube religious watchers, and there's some that are audio only, and they will never cross. So there's not a lot of cross-pollination between YouTube and audio where people say, oh, I want to listen to the whole thing, unless they're your super fans. Super fans listen to everything. But I would say that it's more about the content calendar than it is about, oh, well, it has to come out when the interview drops. It's more about when is this most important to be presented. Does that make sense? I hope that helped, because it's literally, again, the same problem.
No, it totally does. And it actually like sets me up to address this point too. You know, you said that content is going to be new for everybody somewhere, right? The other thing you need to think about is how you are marketing your podcast when it's all said and done has to be different for every platform.
Right.
Okay. So let me walk you through, like, if I was a baby podcaster, like how I would think. So my 4 marketing avenues right now are YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my email list. Okay. Now, my audience is a more professional audience. They are business owners or tech companies. And so that's where these people live. Now, I will tell you, y'all know I be hating Instagram. When I tell you Instagram makes me want to punch it in the face at least once a week. If I could get rid of Instagram, I would. But right now, because there are no DMs on YouTube, I got to keep that platform open. It's also a really good way to share content from other creators and whatnot. So I changed my mindset. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna be here, I gotta be supportive of other people, keep the lights on. But I don't have to be posting a ton of feed content, because that's not the point. So hear me out. Alan and I do a podcast episode, right? First and foremost, Alan sent me the recording so that my editor could pull out things for me. That was golden. Okay. So he did not have to create my social media graphics from his podcast. He just sent me the raw file. We made it happen. So some of y'all are putting too much on your plate that nobody asked you to do. In fact, they would prefer to have more access so that they could customize it to fit their needs. There are certain sound bites that I didn't share until now. And I'll explain that in a little bit. So at a certain point, talk to your guests. How can I equip you to help me promote this episode? What you need? You need some photos. You need my logo. You need some graphics. You need some clips. Like, have the conversation, not just with the guests, but have the marketing conversation about the episode. Because ultimately, if no one knows you did the episode, it's useless to both of you, right? So just to give you a behind the scenes, that's what happened there. So in terms of email marketing, all I need in an email is a photo, because I can't really play a video in my email. So for the podcast, I need, some type of graphic, whether Alan provides it or I make it myself. Email marketing people are going to get a graphic and a button, or a graphic and a link, right? That's what they're going to get. A YouTube audience might be best served with some shorts and some clips, some longer clips. So the shorts are, 0 to 60 seconds. The clips are, to be honest with you, if you hit them with at least an 8 to 10 minute clip, then you can put ads in the middle of the video. So just think at least 8 minutes for what goes on YouTube. Okay. If it's under 8 minutes, you can only do ads at the beginning and the end. So if you really want to make your money, make sure it's at least 8 minutes long. So there's your YouTube thing. So the YouTube video is driving traffic to the audio of the full episode. And that episode is linked in the description. Okay. On Instagram, those folks are not going to get, now hear me out. They're not going to get the YouTube shorts. A lot of y'all think for your podcast, oh, I posted the YouTube shorts, Instagram folks are going to like it. Nope. I don't know how else to tell you. Nope. Instagram people are different. Instagram people, if you're going to put a video up before them, it either needs to be like all the way maxing out the time closer to 60 seconds, or super short, like 7 seconds, right? So if I was going to do something on Instagram, what I would do is put the shorts content in my stories. Here's why. People don't check your feed every day, but people look at their stories all the time of their friends and family. You're going to reach more people in your stories with a button that can click to either YouTube or your podcast than you will on a reel, because you're trying to nurture your warm audience. Okay. So on Instagram, okay, fine. I'll do my little text on screen, whatever, do my little 7 seconds if I must. But what I'm really thinking of is, let me put this in my stories with a link sticker. Like, sure, it might get less views in my stories, but I don't care about Instagram. I want them on my YouTube channel or on my podcast, not on Instagram consuming this content. I don't want them to get comfortable on Instagram. I don't own Instagram. I just need to use this as a conduit to what I control. So put your little link sticker and drive traffic to either YouTube, where you're getting paid to post, or to your podcast, where I'm assuming y'all get paid for your podcast episodes. I don't really understand podcast monetization. I feel like it's redonkulous, but that's a whole nother live stream.
No, yeah,
okay.
No, trust. I'll be
Is it a
doing that at
mess?
2:00. Yes, that's at 2:00.
Okay. We'll talk
the
about that
next
next
level.
time. Yeah, that'll be next live stream. All right. And then LinkedIn. Hear me out. Hear me out, people. LinkedIn, what them people care about is people. That's where you need to be talking about. I just had an awesome conversation with Alan. Alan and I talked about bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. The link is in the comments. LinkedIn doesn't even like your links in your caption. I don't know why it's that way, but it is. So here's the thing. LinkedIn people care about your guests. Who are you having conversations with? Who are you networked with? LinkedIn is a networking social platform. So don't put your logo and your graphics. Talk about your guests and who you're connected with, or talk about the behind the scenes of what you're doing. But like you posting a snippet from the podcast, that ain't it. Photo of you and the person, description of what y'all talked about, link is in the comments. So you have to understand, I am showing up on these platforms and curating content in the format that performs best on that platform. But the goal is to drive traffic to things that I own, or things that are monetized. So if people are going to consume content on YouTube, I'm getting paid when they hit play. If they're going to go to my website, I'm getting paid because they're going to my free low, mid, or high tier offer. Like, you have to think about how this content fits in the overall strategy for what you're trying to do. It has so little to do with your content. Y'all are like, what microphone y'all be using? What camera y'all be using? What y'all editing with? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. As long as the audio is like basically clear and you're not crackling, like, don't nobody care. Like, people record podcasts on their cell phones. Get beyond the gear list and get to the strategy, get to the shmoney. Okay. So you can go and do the things you actually love to do, or you can enjoy the process of creating again. And it's not drudgery, and it's not one more obligation you put on yourself. Okay. Like, that's how this works. That's how I can show up on Monday morning at 10 and be like, man, my life is good. Because before I hit live, I already got paid. The invoice is prepped. The invoice is prepped, my friend. My inbox is full. I can see the number as I'm talking. I see the number going up on my Gmail, And so when you got strategy, man, content is a blast. It's a blast. So definitely went over. I feel like we need a part 2. I mean,
I'm here for it. I'm not. Look, I don't think people understand. I saw some fire. I saw so many fire emojis. This was insane. So with that, so I'm gonna follow what you just said. Number one, the CTA, right? I gotta learn my lesson right away. So number one, that you all should be joining Bootstrap Creators with me. As she saw, the wait list is already up, and I would want to have some more friends, but then to go right into what she just talked about, the connections, the networking. Guiding Gigs is a community. I formed this in 2016. I saw some people asking about, how do you share your life? How do you share your creativity in an ecumenical fashion? I caught that word, whoever shared that. That means that you've got a mindset around creative and the spiritual. check out godandgigs.com/info. Okay, that's my newsletter, but I am not just doing newsletters. I'm actually giving you content and freebies, and I will be organizing my resource list, which is actually at godandgigs.com/toolkit. Just haven't talked about it enough, but thank you, Lashana, for reminding me that I do have a resources page, godandgigs.com/toolkit, for all the tools that I use. So I'm going to be preparing those resources and I'll be sharing them in the newsletter. godandgigs.com/info is how you signed up. I'm actually profiled in one of my email survivor. This is it's a win for the bootstraps. I didn't get a chance to share it. I'm sharing it now.
What you
Yeah,
gonna share?
I'm on the featured creators on the Creator Network in ConvertKit. Yeah,
What?
front page, front page.
Wait. Where?
Do
Tell
you
me.
want to? I don't know if can I share? I don't know if I'm allowed to kind of share a picture or share a screen. Can I do that?
What is the link? Just what is the link?
You'd have to. Oh, it's. I don't know if you can see it publicly. You have to be in the Creator Network. I have a picture of it. You have to be in the
Okay.
Creator Network to see it.
But that's
But for everybody that's in the Creator
amazing.
Network,
Yes.
yeah, I'll be profiled for the next 2 weeks. So it's happening. I'm working on this. I'm doing what you said. I'm following the directions.
We love implementation. We love it. We love it. Yes. That's so great. Ah, I love that. I love it. Guys, like this is the kind of stuff that's going to be happening even more. Like when I tell you the stuff that I am putting into this app, like Uscreen is a dream and oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. But for now, get on the wait list so you can get in the community, sign up for the workshop. If you do not have 1K subs on YouTube, I am making this so accessible. Just sign up. Just sign up. Even if you are watching this live after the 24th, you can get the replay. So you won't be able to be there live, but you can get the replay. So, like, I love to teach. When I tell you my mission is to be the mentor I always wanted, I take that so seriously. I'm trying to be so generous with this information because the Lord is blessing my brand partnerships and all of that. So I'm not stressed. So please, while I am accessible and this content is not paywalled, y'all slide in when it's free 99 because I could quickly just whoop. I can start charging for it because it's valuable stuff. Don't think, and that's a myth. When people say like, oh, people don't value things they don't pay for it. False. People value what's valuable. So that's false. I give value even if it's free to you. Okay. I'm not withholding helpful information because I give it away for free on my YouTube channel every day. So that's not how I roll. Other people, maybe, but that's not how I roll. So man, this was so empowering, longer than I thought it was gonna be. Y'all go ahead and subscribe and turn them notification bells on because Alan and I might just be back at some point to do a part 2 to address some of these questions. Like, this is such a good conversation to have because a lot of you thought, man, I should launch a podcast. And y'all did not think this through. Y'all did not think it through. And I'm here to help. How about that? No judgment. I'm just here to help. So just put that out there. I'm so grateful to Riverside for sponsoring this here episode. I'm so grateful to Alan for letting me just throw him in the deep end. I didn't tell him ne'er a thing before we went live. Told him nothing. And he went with it.
Do it.
Yep. Because if I told you, you'd be stressed. So nope, that's not what I'm gonna do. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here live. Man, I feel like maybe I can answer some of these questions in a LinkedIn. We probably just need to do a part 2. Let me stop lying. Even if Riverside doesn't sponsor, I feel like we just need a part 2. This was phenomenal. Folks came in and said, major congratulations. Everybody's celebrating you, Alan. So we'd love to see that. Oh my goodness. So yeah, guys, this is so good for the soul. I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm so grateful that you witnessed this live coaching session that I just threw Alan into because this is what it's like to work with me. Y'all, I'm wired, but I really care. And that's my heart. That's my heart. So as we like to say on Bootstrap Biz Advice, until next time, what'd I say, Alan? Ta-ta for now.
Bye.